To go back to the main menu, swipe up with 3 fingers. Starting road trip, 2,000 miles. You will hear your cards in my voice.
You will hear the computer's actions in my voice.
You are playing with Bob, who is a good player. Dealing your cards. Dealing Bob's cards. Dealing a card to discard pile. You have 6 cards. Flat tire. Go. 100. Go. Repairs. Go. Discard pile.
Voiceover off. Gmail. Zanita. Ears travel cards. Ears travel card. Version 3 by or up done button. By settings button. Settings heading done game back no use discard pile number of cards use discard pile when deck is empty use alert on but use ding if a card is number of cards number alert number under cancel underscore a you ding if a card sound effects for card choose ding number of card background game settings done button. App switcher. Ears travel car's main menu. Resume button. By or up setting. Help. Current game car game road trip.
Using
Voiceover
1 coin to
off.
play. To go back to the main menu, swipe up with 3 fingers. Starting road trip, 2,000 miles. You are playing with Amy, who is a poor player. Dealing your cards. Dealing Amy's cards. Dealing a card to discard pile. You have 8 cards. End of limit. Repairs. End of limit. Flat tire. 75. Stop. Go. End of limit. Discard pile top card is end of limit. You drew end of limit. End. 7. Stop. Go. You played go.
Amy drew a card from the deck. Amy played power go.
It's your turn. Draw a card. You drew 25. Stop. 75. Flat tire. Stop. You discarded stop. You drew crash from the end. Crash. You played crash on Amy.
Amy drew a card from the deck. Amy played repairs.
End of limit. You drew stop from the 75. You played 75.
Amy drew a card from the deck. Amy played 100.
Flat tire. You drew more gas from the deck. You played flat tire on Amy.
Amy drew a card from the deck. Amy discarded 100.
You drew stop. End of limit. 20. Stop. You discarded. You drew flat tire from stop. Flat tire. You cannot play flat. You have traveled 75 miles. You cannot go because of out of gas card. More gas. You played more gas. You drew 50, 20, end of limit. You discarded, you drew 20, you discarded 25. You drew 100. You discarded, you drew 100. You discard, you drew repairs. You cannot.
YouTube active. Ears trap settings. Help setting. Help current game card road trip.
Using 1
Voiceover
coin to
off.
play. To go back to the main menu, swipe up with 3 fingers. Starting road trip, 2,000 miles. You are playing with Dave, who is an average player. Dealing your cards. Dealing Dave's cards. Dealing a card to discard pile. You have 8 cards. More gas. Power go. More gas. Speed limit. 100. Go. 25. 100. Discard pile top card is 100. You drew repairs, power go. You played power go.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave played go.
You drew 25, 100. You played 100.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave played out of gas on you.
You drew end of speed, more gas. You played more gas.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave played 100.
Go. You drew 25, 100. You played 100. You drew go from 25, end of you have traveled 200 miles. Power card power go.
Dave has traveled 200 miles.
25, go. You played go. You drew repairs, go. Repairs. Go, 20, end of 25, repair, 25. You played, you drew 200, 200. You cannot play 200 because you have traveled 225 miles. Power card power go. You cannot go because of a, go, 20, speed limit, more gas. You played more gas. You drew speed limit, repair, speed limit. You played speed limit on Dave.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave played end of limit.
It's, you drew 100, go, 200, speed, 1, speed limit. You played speed limit on Dave.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave played 25.
You drew 100, repairs, 200. You played 200.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave discarded 100.
You drew 50 from 100. You played 100.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave played power tire.
You drew go from the 50. You played 50. You drew 100, go, 100. You played 100.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave played power repairs.
You drew new tire, 100. New tire. 100. You played 100.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave played crash on you.
Go. Repairs. You drew more gas from the deck. You played repairs.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave discarded repairs.
You drew 100 from the 100. You played 100.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave discarded 50.
It's your turn. Draw a card. You drew flat tire from the deck. More flat tire. You discarded flat tire.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave discarded go.
It's your turn. Draw a card.
Dave has traveled 400 miles. Power card power tire. Power card power repairs. Dave's speed is limited to 50.
You drew go from the deck. New go. Go. And 20. You played 25.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave played 50.
It's, you drew new tire. Go. 20. End of 25. You played 20. You drew go from the go. New tire. You cannot. More gas. Go. You discarded go. You drew 100. Go. You played 100.
Dave drew a card from the deck.
Low battery. 20. Look close.
Dave
Voiceover
played 50.
off.
It's your turn. Go. New tire. Go. Go. You drew 75. 75. You played 75.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave discarded more gas.
It's your new tire. Go. You drew go from the deck. You played go.
Dave.
You drew stop. Go. Stop. You played stop on Dave. Go. You drew repairs. Repairs. You cannot play. Go. You played go. You drew 25. 25. You played. You drew more gas. More. Go. New. More. New. End of limit. You cannot play end of limit. You cannot play end of. You cannot play end of. You discarded end of limit.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave discarded new tire.
You drew 100. New. Go. Go. Repair. More gas. 100. You played 100.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave discarded stop.
It's your turn. You drew end of limit. End of limit. You discarded end of limit. You drew 25. 25. You played 25. You drew 100. You have traveled 1,250 miles.
Dave has traveled 525 miles. Power card power tire.
100. You played 100.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave discarded new tire.
You drew go from the go. You played. You drew 200. 200. You played 200.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave discarded go.
You have traveled 1,550 miles. And played 200 miles cards. Power card power go. You drew 25 from the deck. 25. You played 25. You drew 100 from the deck. 100. You played 100.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave discarded repairs.
It's your turn. Draw a card. You drew go from the go. You played go. You drew 75. Go. 75. You played 75. You drew 100. Go. 100. You played 100.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave played 50.
Go. You drew 50 from 50. You played 50.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave played 200.
It's your turn.
Dave has traveled 875 miles. And played 200 miles cards. Power card power tire. Power card power repairs. Power card power gas.
You drew end of limit. New. More. New. Re. New. More. New. Re. More. Go. Go. End. You discard. You drew 7. 70. You played 75. You drew 7. Go. You played go. You drew stop. Stop. You played stop on Dave.
Dave drew a card from the deck. Dave played go.
You drew 25. Go. 75. You cannot play. You cannot play 75 because you cannot go further than 25 or you will exceed the target. 25. You cannot play 25 because you must play a go. You have traveled 1975 miles. And played 200 miles cards. Power card power go. You cannot go because of a fly. Go. More. New. More. New tire. You played new tire. You drew 100. Go. 7. 25. You played 25. You scored 2,000 points for distance, 100 points for power cards, and 0 points for power-ups. You scored an additional 400 points for a completed trip. Your total score is 2,500 points.
Dave scored 1,275 points for distance, 300 points for power cards, and 0 points for power-ups.
You scored 2,500 points, and beat your prior high score of 0 points. Congratulations! You should post your score to Twitter or Facebook by tapping the screen twice with 2 fingers. Swipe up to play again, or swipe up with 3 fingers to return to the main menu.